Guys? Um, I thought I'd make an update here, go live. I am running around running errands because I'm about to go on a trip. And I came to the shop to pick up stuff. I actually had my wallet here. Didn't even notice. It's a good thing I came here to check, see what it is I need to take with me on my trip. And I thought I'd make a video. Give you an update on what's going on. Um, you know me, I'm always plowing through even when things are bad like they are right now. I don't know if they're super bad, but you hear those business coaches and you hear I don't know, podcasts and stuff where people are like, these business people are like, my advice is when things are tough, just keep doing it. Keep going. Don't stop. And I agree with that 100%. But it's like I'm in it right now. I'm like fighting for my life. You know what I mean? And it's it's wearing it's wearing on me. You know what I mean? Hold on, let me lower this. Um, and the thing is, I'm not even feeling like a ton of pressure because I'm on top of it. I'm staying on top of it as best I could, as best as I can. And but one false move, or something that's kind of out of my control that I'm not able to handle could happen, and that could apply a lot of pressure to me. Um, and also, I don't know what's around the corner. So my issue right now is, as I don't know if you could see my thumbnail. What's up, Walter? I know how you feel. I'm working on automations. Um, I'm working with the city, with the engineers, with the contractor. I did find a contractor that I love. Me and this new contractor are on the same page. We haven't done any work. I haven't done any work to the yard yet. We've been we've been dealing with the engineers with designs. I've been dealing with them in designs, surveyors, geotech people, the city. It's just a new concept that, I could honestly say I'm gaining a ton of experience. I wish I didn't have to deal with this experience, but I am. And I'm learning a ton about this. But so I'm almost past the phase of the designs, and I'm about to enter the phase of going to the building department, pulling permits, and just kind of, you know, to the point where I'm about ready to, like, if I had the means to start the project. And I was getting quotes, just random quotes. I don't have the approvals to even get started on projects, but I thought, you know what? I have my designs are pretty much completed. I'm going to start calling contractors to see how much it's going to cost to do a new curb and sidewalk, right? Because I've got to do that. And I got a quote for that, and I was like, ouch, but it's doable. All right, what about the concrete pad for the new metal building that's going in the back? Ouch, really expensive, but doable, right? I mean, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna be hard. I've got to save money. I've got to put a lot of money towards that once I have it. And then I got a quote for the asphalt that I'm gonna do on big section of the yard, and that was actually not that bad. That was something that I was like, oh, that's not that expensive. Asphalt is not that expensive. So um, so everything was going good, right? As far as like just for fun getting quotes. I mean, I'm looking at it, I'm going, you know what? This is all doable. And I finally found a contractor that can do the drainage, the drains. I need 4 sumps two big old, I don't know what they're called, reservoir things. I don't know, tanks, these big ass 20-foot tanks. Anyway, he didn't give me a quote for the sumps, but he gave me a quote for the tanks. And it's like 60,000 bucks. That one hurts. That one I'm like, damn. And that's not even half the job. That's just a section of it. So that's got me a little worried, a little concerned, and then all of a sudden I went from, you know what, this is all gonna happen, to I don't know what I gotta do. What's up, Israel? What's up, Rami King? Um, so you know what I mean? It's like you just as long as I'm moving, I'm keep going. It's like boom, things are good. Oh, things are gonna be bad. Things are good. So I don't know. You know what I mean? So I've got a contractor who's going to help me out. He understands the whole situation, everything, and we're gonna work together. So I'm really excited about that. So that's a good thing that's happening there. Um, so here I am, just going through it. I feel like I'm managing my money pretty good this year, considering all this stuff. I don't know. How about you guys? We're getting into snow, so I'm getting snow requests from commercial accounts. Um, I pretty much I almost have my snow team finalized. I definitely have my list of guys that said they want to do it. I just want to have a good one-on-one talk with everybody and talk about, my expectations for the winter, so they kind of understand where I'm coming from, and what the goals are with that, So I don't know. I think I'm going on vacation soon, and I'm going to be leaving on good. I think the team can handle this. I have such a strong team, guys. Such a strong team. Like, I am so grateful with all that I've got going on. Knock on wood. The one thing that I feel super confident and don't have to worry about is my team. All the techs, all the crews that go out with the truck, even if it's one man crews, are all going out. They all make money. All those trucks are profitable. My management team can handle everything without me. So I'm leaving on really good terms. The only thing is, like, I do the sprinkler scheduling myself, and so I won't be able to to talk to all the customers and move jobs around throughout the day. Because believe it or not, we're still getting jobs. Not a lot, but enough to keep half my sprinkler guys busy. And so what I've been doing is giving some days off, having the other ones work, them have off, next other teams work. It also depends on what the service is, right? If it's a job that I think, a certain person can do, I pretty much give it to them. So yeah, that's kind of, I don't know. This is a weird year. Like, I've been really focused on, just efficiency, making sure that our teams are making money. How are they liking that off and on schedule? I think the sprinkler guys actually understand. Here in the winter, I don't know if where you're at, I think Oklahoma, um, I don't know if it snows there. I think you get like one storm a year or something, Walter, right? Well, our sprinkler guys, people that are real, like that really do sprinklers, season after season, or at least one season, uh, more than one season, know that sprinklers slows down heavily in September. Um, and if they don't know, I let them know, you know. I like, look, man, I don't know if this is your first year doing sprinklers, but this is pretty common. I'm doing my very best to keep you busy. So for the most part, um, they're doing pretty good. Just tuned in. How long do you usually cut grass? I'm usually middle of November, end of November. Yeah, same with us, Jeff. What's up, man? Um, so it's kind of tricky, right? Because we're about to do so here in Utah, we have to winterize the sprinkler systems. So we go to the house, blow out the sprinkler lines, so there's no water in the pipes. So when it freezes, there's no cracking, or at least it reduces the risk of cracking, right? And so when I do that, sometimes customers cancel mowing. You know what I mean? Even though the grass still grows, and we try and tell them, but for a lot of customers, blowing out the sprinkler lines, it's like an excuse to shut down the yard. Shut down all kind of anything that costs money. So hey, we're not able to water, why do we mow? Why are we mowing? Why am I paying somebody to mow the lawn if I'm not even watering the lawn? They don't understand that the grass is still growing. The lawn is still moist in the morning from the morning dew or whatever, the rain. You know what I mean? And the grass is still super healthy. And the funny thing is, it's like our grass is Kentucky bluegrass, and it loves the cold. Like it's meant for cold. So it actually grows thicker October, and people cancel. So I have to be really cautious on who I put on the schedule to winterize their sprinklers because if I just blow out everybody's, we'll get tons of people canceling, and they shouldn't be canceling because um, you know the grass grows. Walter, I'm running a review campaign giving our mowing customers brownies and a review card and an upsell card for landscape, Christmas lights, aerations, fall flowers. Nice. Yeah, reviews are huge. Um, let's see here. Yeah, guys. So I don't really know what I got going on other than I'm kind of getting ready for winter. You know what I'm really getting ready for winter is I want to have enough in the my accounts to pay the bills for 3 months is my goal. Now that's just the bills, and I'm trying to have enough to cover the minimum payroll for 3 months. Really, I'm kind of responsible for 2 months, but I'd like to get 3 months for the winter up with payroll. Freddie, do you have KPIs that CSRs have to meet weekly? You know, I really don't think so, to be honest with you. Or are they just on standby? I think they're just on standby, to be honest with you. Well, I only have one CSR, and honestly, she's amazing. I mean, she just stays busy and goes. What I've realized with my office girl is she's not motivated by upselling. She's not, and I've come to terms with it. You know, she basically is great at following up with a request and answering the phone and dealing with the phone calls, right? So she tries to sell on the phone when they call, or when she calls them from a lead coming in or something. But I'm just totally aware that she just doesn't reach out to, you know hey customers, we also do this service, didn't know if you know. If I give her that a task with a list, she will follow up and she'll ask everybody, but then once she goes through the list, it's kind of like that's it, you know. And then she's going back to doing her regular duties, which is, you know, making sure that all our payments are collected. She's great at that. You know, I mean, she stays super busy, and I couldn't ask for anything more, because what she does do is like nonstop, a lot, super busy. But as far as upselling, it's just not her cup of tea, and I've just come to terms with it. You know, she doesn't do that, but she does like all these other things that I couldn't ask anybody to do. Like if I hired somebody that was really, which I've had, really good upsellers, really good. They were not good at collecting payments. They were not good at getting credit cards on file. They were not good at a lot of other things. Whereas the only thing I think she just doesn't like doing is upselling. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, and I'm fine with it. You know what I mean? I'm super fine with it. She will, like if a Mo guy is on a property and says, "Hey, the gardens are really weedy. We probably need a garden. Ask if they want weeding." She will send the customer an email and say, you know, your Mo guy says that you need some weeding done. I can have the garden manager come out there and give you a quote, or we do have these other options that we can do. So she's really good at that. And if you call that upselling, well, then she does it. But she just doesn't like actively, she doesn't like get on her desk and go, you know what, today I'm going to get as many, um, you know, like I said, if I have a list, if I go here, call, like text all these customers and see if they want a winterization or snow removal or mowing for the season, she will go through that list for sure. Like that doesn't stop her. But like on her own, going, you know what? I noticed we need fertilizing. I'm gonna try and get fertilizing customers today, and then sit down and figure out how to do it. Like she won't do that, which, again, I'm okay with. I'm super okay with because everything else she does is amazing. Walter, sorry man, went a little off on that question there. We have our CSR do closing for extra $10, upsells 20, and she has to meet 10 closing jobs per week. Yeah, I've tried that, and again, it doesn't motivate her at all. So I would rather have her focus on what she's great at, which keeps her super busy and it's super efficient and it's super important. So I'd rather have her focus on that. And if I've talked to her about this because I don't want to hire another CSR. I don't. I think we're good with one. You know what I mean? I think if we hire another one, it's just a waste of money, and I don't want to do that. But I'd be willing to bring in a part timer that does upsell, and I have somebody in mind, and so me and Rachel have talked and said, if this individual that we have in mind expresses any interest to work here, that's what we could offer him. And I'm willing to pay him a commission on the upsells that he does because he's really good at it. So, you know, that's kind of where I'm at, but I feel like we're good. Like if we took her off or brought somebody else on that upsells, yeah, they might upsell for a little bit, but then so many other things would go like be missed that it's just not worth it for me, you know? So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I've even had a conversation with my marketing guy because I kind of during this year I'm like, hey man, we're not getting the leads that I thought we were gonna get, you know. And so they hopped on and looked around and said, you know what, you need to do a better job following up. And I'm like, I understand. Every company could do better following up, but we answer every call and we call back and we talk to the customers. But yeah, we may not reach out 100 times or a month later. You know, we do have automations that do that. Okay, so that has brought up that conversation, and I've talked to Rachel about it, and she assured me we have automations, and has even told me of customers that have you got on because of the automation. So I'm like, okay, so we've got that covered, and she's pretty happy with those automations too. So I think we're doing good in that department. So, but she is my office manager. My office manager is not motivated by an extra dollar amount to close sales. She's just not. I wish she was, but she's not, and so, and I'm okay with that. Um, we have an SOP and has helped her be more intentional in closing new jobs. Standard operating procedures. Is that what that is? That's good to know. We have thought of having someone from Mexico or Philippines for upsells. They charge $4 to $10 an hour, plus bonuses if you want to add that. Yeah, see, that's something I'm interested in. We did hire a company one time that I don't remember exactly what they did, but they would close things and they closed it wrong. Like, you know what I mean? They would close garden work and with, and it was a mess, man. It was a mess. They were closing jobs, anywhere from 400 to 1200 or even more, I think. But the problem is we weren't on the same page with the customer, right? The customer thought for 1200 bucks that we were gonna give them a utopia backyard, you know what I mean? And it was like, no, this is just to weed this one garden bed. And they're like, no, man, I want a new sod and fix that hole and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, sorry. So we were closing jobs, but then we ended up like when we'd have to follow up before we actually send a worker there to say, this is what this job that you accepted really is for. Are you okay with that? And most of the time they were like, no, forget it. You guys are crazy. And we're like, all right, so we stopped doing that, but maybe we could do it for like fertilizing and mowing, I'm totally not opposed to that. It's just anything that requires a lot of detail work can't really, I don't, it has to be from us because we know what we're doing with that for that price. You know what I mean? We learned that at the Tommy event. Nice. Matt, what's up, man? Just wanted to pop in real quick and say hi. Happy Sunday. Hey, man. Always good to hear from you. Walter, that's tough. I think for simple services it will work. For more complex services it would be harder. And yeah, like you say, follow-ups. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think that's something we need to do. I think our marketing is pretty dialed in. When I was complaining, I actually had one of the main guys from the marketing company call me, and we talked for a good hour about everything. And he was basically assuring me that I'm in his top 5 out of all the customers he has. My company pays less per lead because of how many we get and how many we close. And so he really was educating me on that, saying, this for every, I can't remember. I'm just gonna throw it out there as something pretty good. For every $40 I put in, I get a new customer. So but he kind of put it like that, right? So something that I could understand because sometimes I'm a little hard headed. I don't get everything right away. But he basically was helping me understand that I'm actually doing really well with the marketing. And I got to the point where I believed him because he was having me. He emailed me like the list of phone numbers that we're calling, and while I was on the phone, with him, he was having me copy and paste it into my system. And a lot of those customers were customers. So he's like, look, I want you to know, based on our data, you're closing this many jobs. You're crazy to cancel. Because I was like, dude, I think I'm canceling. I think I'm done. And he's just like, I don't normally say this, but you're in my top 5 of best customers that I would never think for once that you would cancel because of how many leads you're getting. And so I felt better after the whole thing. And so that's kind of where I'm at with that. But that's when he was like, what you need to do is you need all these that you're not closing, you need to call them back and and figure out something to get them as a customer. You already paid for them, so they're already your phone number. That's your phone number that you can call them because you've paid for that. And so that's when, we tried to, I don't know, that's when we were thinking about, hey, what can we do here? And we've already had this conversation, me and Rachel, many, many times about the upselling. And we realized, it's just not going to happen. So if we're going to do the upselling, it's got to be we got to hire that out on a part-time basis if we're going to do that. Otherwise, we'd keep doing what we're doing, which is working. We could get a few more customers every day if we just upsell. But with new customers, and that's what I want to point out here. I forgot to mention that earlier. We're pretty good at upselling our regular customers. It's the new customers that we're not good at following up and getting them to sign up. Although we do get new customers, so you know what I mean? I'm not trying to say we're doing bad at that. I'm pretty happy with that. And when I say I'm happy with my team, that means my office manager too. Couldn't be happier, and I tell her that all the time because I really am super happy with that. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. It's September 21st, and I'm so far ahead of where I thinking ahead. I'm like, in my mind, it's January. Because I'm trying to plan for winter so much. Because here's what I realized, guys, and maybe I'll end it on this topic here. But I think I've come to terms that everything we do, like what we should be thinking, the way we should be thinking when it's a seasonal company like mine is because of where I'm at in Utah, I should be thinking about the winter, about planning for the winter and making sure I have enough cushion to pay the bills and my payroll at the very beginning of the season. I'm talking February, March. That's when I should be making moves to get through the winter, like that soon, and keep that going so that when the winter comes, we have a smooth winter where we're not going in the hole, okay? And when we start the season, we're, again, planning for the winter, but we're ahead. We'll be ahead. And I think I've been lying to myself for years and years and years and years that, okay, winter will come and we'll have such a good winter that everything will be great. Reverse engineer your future profits. So the way I've kind of thought about it is like, I used to lie to myself all the time with winter, guys. Like, I wonder if I could shake this. I would go, I need this much money to get me through the winter. Totally ignoring either payroll or the bills. I just learned that from Mark B. from LMN. What did you learn from Mark, Walter? Just curious. Man, you know, it'd be good if we had like, if we had like if you were on the live and we could just bounce off each other, Walter, that'd be amazing. So I would lie to myself and say, okay, I need this much money because with the snow that we're gonna get, that'll cover A and B or C. And I think I'm done. I think I've grown up and said, that's not gonna happen. I need to worry about the winter like I do profit. All right? I'm always worried about profit. I got to put profit away. And I do. That's important. Obviously, that's why we're in business. I'm not going to totally dismiss that. But if you handle winter first, I think that you can start the year not in a hole and start. I think that's just going to be better. I haven't officially, like, ever, I shouldn't say officially, but I never really went through winter with the mindset that I have now. And I hope that I get through this winter with the thoughts that I have. And I say that because I am dealing with the city, so I don't know what's around the corner. They could say, "Hey, you need to do this, you need to do that," and then it's like, boom, I'm spending money instead of what I wanted to do. So I don't know for sure what I can do. We can do that on a Sunday. That day works. Be good with me. Less hectic. Yes. All right, let's plan. Maybe let's plan on it. I won't say this next week, although we can try. But I'm going to be gone for the whole week, and but I think we should plan something. Whether it's like, how can we record it while both being able to bounce ideas off each other or questions, and also questions from the people watching. So, and I know we can do that with this. It's just, and that's maybe what we do. It's just so always like so condensed and stuff. I don't know. It might work. I just haven't done it in a while, so I can't remember. So that's my new mindset. Worry about winter as the highest priority. Yeah, we can do that. Will work with me. Awesome. Yeah, so what I'll do is, in case we don't talk, is I'll try and remind you earlier that morning or throughout the week. You can call me anytime, dude, or text me too, and then we can talk about it. But I think let's try and talk at least an hour or half hour before, at least a half hour before, to see if we can get it to work, sync up the way we want, and then we'll get going again. If I remember right, it's pretty easy. I just kind of forgot how to do it because it's been so long. But yeah, guys, I know I started the day saying, you can hear on podcasts and people saying, "Go, just keep going, no matter how hard it is." I agree with that, but it is hard. It is hard. Like I said, things are going good. Our jobs are getting done. We're actually doing bigger jobs than we've ever done, guys. I did a big project for the hospital. Big project. And we handled it great. I think there was some issues with the people in charge there. I mean, not issues, but like they actually asked for a quote, like I'll just say 2 months before we did the project. Maybe it was a month and a half. And for and we weren't, I didn't know if we were going to do it. So it was kind of hard to make sure that, that we're going to have the materials when they do say, let's go. We're going to have the people, because, it starts getting slower in September. And so it's like, I don't know if I was going to have the sprinkler guys, because they usually leave. Not all of them. And I've got a whole new squad of sprinkler guys that are freaking amazing, but you never know, right? Historically, sprinkler guys tend to say, you know what, it's starting to get slow. I think I'm just going to go move on and I'll be back next spring or something like that. That's kind of how it usually is. So I was worried that was going to happen. And then finally they accept our quote. And the day we started, the guy in charge went on vacation for a week. And then when he came back, we were done. But he didn't, he was so busy with stuff because he was gone for a week that he didn't really look at our stuff like the whole week that he was back. He looked at it briefly and he had some notes for us to do. And so I hurried up and got that done. So, I mean, it might all be good, but it's still up in the air. And I actually sent him a video. Sorry. I'm watching at the same time Walter's um, message, and I sent him a text saying I'm going on vacation for a week, but if you need anything, call the office and we'll try and handle it, whatever it is. But so it's kind of weird because I did my first big project. Now, let me tell you, we've done bigger projects for residentials that were like, I want to say $60,000, maybe more. So we've done big projects like that, but not like commercial grade big project, right? A commercial grade where it was 2-inch pipe, 60-foot Falcons rotors on 1-inch flex pipe. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like giant job. And we did it like we have our people like you should have seen it, guys. My team is so good. Sorry to keep bragging on my team, okay? Sorry, all right? Because I love my team. My team has been telling me to do big projects for probably 2 years, okay? Like, give us these big jobs, we're ready to do it. And, we haven't done it. So my neck is on the line, We've done big landscaping projects for residentials, but not commercial. And this, you know what I'm saying? It's like, my neck is on the line. So it's not that, first of all, getting in the door is not like that easy either. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just like go, we want to do this giant landscape project for the hospital, and it just magically will be, you'll be on the list of quoting. No, it doesn't work that way. You got to get in there. Slowly, smaller jobs turn into bigger jobs, The next thing you know, it's like, boom. So my team has been waiting for these big jobs, right? And when we started this big job, I was there because I wanted to make sure that everything was good. I mean, Rachel was there. We weren't there every minute, but I would say that I was there for every step. Every new phase of the project, I was there and in the middle. So I was there at the beginning of every phase of every step and then in the middle of every phase. And then when the job finished, I was there checking everything, making sure everything was good. But when we first started it, there was no chaos, guys. It was like my team was ready. They started trenching with I want to say just a normal trencher, right? That you rent for $200 a day or whatever, just a normal trencher, stand-on trencher. And they realized with talking to each other and with me, I was part of that conversation. They're like, we need to get a mini bucket scooper, like mini skid steer. And I go, that's double the cost, and we're gonna need to, who knows how many days we're gonna have it. They're like, that's what we need to do. And then they were talking to each other. Some of them were like, no, we don't need to. Some were like, yeah. I was kind of listening and watching my team just brainstorm this out. And then one of the team members kind of gave their pitch on why it's necessary. And it was like, wow, it makes sense. All right. And we were all on the same page. Get the mini skid steer with the bucket scooper instead. And boom, he went, came back, did what he needed to. He finished that, and then he got another machine. Like, it was just like everybody was rocking, man. When it was time to lay down the pipes, it was just like smooth. And everything got done, man. And it was like we've been doing it for years, and it was our first big commercial project. And it was like we were doing it for years. So that gave me a boost of confidence that I never had. I knew our team was good, like for residential, like I knew that already. But with commercial, we were using material and product that we've never used before. So I had a level of anxiety going into it. But man, and once we finished that, like my brain as the business owner just was like, wow, I can now dream bigger. Like we can take this thing farther. Like our team is better. They can do this and that. And so I started adding stuff and going after some bigger projects on residential, because I mean, if we could do that, I know we could do some bigger stuff on residential. So my mind got bigger because my team is so good that they help me realize, you know what, let's go. So that's kind of what's been happening with that. And let's see here. Have you seen Mike's Q4 collapse video about fixing the slower season? I have. I read the audiobook too. I just feel like, I don't know, man. I don't like criticizing anything. But I feel like I've tried all that. You know what I mean? I feel like I've tried doing a lot of that stuff. They all see the potential and growth. Yeah, the company, yes. My workers see the potential and growth for sure. And you know, I have one of the feedbacks that I've taken to heart that has been the most heartfelt feedback from some of my guys. And I know they're just being helpful, but there's some of the stronger, right? The stronger techs who feel like they can do these big giant projects. Basically think I have a trust issue. Like I don't trust that they can do these things. And it's not that. It's just that my neck is on the line. Do you understand? It's like, if you know, when you have a worker that can do task A, right? And you know that. But you got another worker that you're not sure can do task A. Great worker. You say, hey, I want you to try doing task A. Try it. I booked this job to do task A. And they go, oh man. All right. I've never done it before, but I'm willing to try. And I go, okay, go for it. Because you know you have a worker that can do task A. So if that worker goes and does it and for some reason messes it up, can't do it, can't figure it out, doesn't do it right, you can always send that worker that can do it to fix it for them, right? The problem is when you don't have the worker that you know can do task A, and all you have is workers saying they can do task A, but you've never seen it or have any kind of proof, I guess, or you haven't, maybe they've done other jobs that are similar, but they couldn't do that. So why would they be able to do this? Like, you know what I mean? So that's kind of the stuff that I have to think about, because if I send them to do task A and they've never done it before, who do you think has got to fix that? Me. Okay? And I understand that's why I make the big bucks, right? But just because I make the big bucks doesn't mean I know how to fix that. It's like I've got to try to have a network of people outside of the company that can fix those things, and it take their scheduling involved. I mean, not everybody's available at a drop of a dime when I need something. So if there's a flood happening and we need somebody that can fix it, and I can call my outside source, it's not like they're going to say, I'll be right there, like you have with a worker. You know what I mean? With one of your regular guys. No, they're going to say, hey, I'm available next week. And I go, well, I don't have next week, man. This thing needs to be fixed today. And they're like, well, sorry, man, call somebody else. That's what my workers don't really understand. You know what I mean? And so, yes, we're at a point in our company where unless it's like outside of landscaping, right? If somebody needs a fence put in, I'm sorry, we don't do that. Even if a guy was a fence worker, I would say no, unless it's part of a giant, bigger project, we're not doing a fence. Just, no, we've got too many jobs for landscaping that we got to get done. But for the most part, if it's anything to do with landscaping, we're willing to do it. But I'm not willing to do it if I don't have the confidence that my guys can do it, if I don't have backup for somebody that can do task A. You know what I mean? Like somebody that I know has to be ready, like, or do it. And again, my guys say, you don't trust me. I can do this. Like, well, the problem is I have the backstory on the customer. They're leaving town for a week. If it's not finished by this day, and it takes you 2 days to do it, we're not going to get paid for who knows how long, because I don't know. You know what I mean? Like there's just a lot going on. But with jobs that I know that we can do, boom, let's go. Let's go. I have no issues with that. It's just some of these bigger projects like that hospital thing. I knew we were ready for that. I knew we were, because I had a guy that can do task A. I actually had two guys that I know I could call on to get it done. And I knew I kind of built a good enough relationship with the manager at the hospital so that if we had to turn the water off, we'd turn it off and then get back to it if we had to, right? Thankfully, we didn't have to do that. But so I'm always thinking of that. But that's the feedback that I've gotten over the recent years of workers saying, "Hey, why don't we do these bigger things? Like we can do it." It's like we got to take it one step at a time. I had another thought here, but I can't remember right now. So what's on everybody's mind? What's on everybody's mind? Whether the topics we were talking about or something different, just let me know. I'm not going to be here much longer today. I've got to pack and get ready for a trip. Let's see. I'm going to reread some of these questions because I think I had oh yeah, the Q4 collapse video. Well, I guess I didn't see the video, and I guess Mike Andes has a new 3.5-hour training video that I want to watch. I think it goes in detail about a lot of stuff. But that winter off-season stuff, I mean, it's stuff that everybody kind of should already know, like, charge a little bit less in the winter time for certain projects so that customers can sign up. And actually, I don't remember everything in the book. I read it pretty much right, I think, when it came out. And it was a quick audiobook read. So but I remember thinking, oh, I've done that. Are you pushing into commercial work as you keep growing, like HOAs or larger commercial complexes? Yeah. We have, let me see. I want to say, so we're residential, right? You know this, right? We do all residential stuff. But we have been getting into commercial the last year and this year. And because of that, we're getting a little more confidence because, we have to wait 45 days for these commercial accounts. So right now we're waiting on roughly $60,000 with work we already did, and we're waiting for them. And that's with all our commercials. If you combine them all together, roughly, for sure, I can think of two of them for sure. We're at 50,000. And I know that within the other ones, there's got to be 10,000 owed to us, right? So we're owed about $60,000 right now, which is giant compared to what we're used to being owed to us, because we used to be at like 98% or 99% everybody paid up. Like for years, that's how we operate, and that's how we're so strong. Because every work we do, we get the money the next day. We have the money in the bank account the next day, pretty much. And so if we need materials, if we need payroll, we need to train somebody, we always have the money. But with these commercial accounts, we're waiting, right? So it's like, you know what I mean? There's a new level of like technique that I'm learning, and I feel like I haven't mastered it for sure, but I'm learning it, and I pick up a thing here and there, and I go, oh, this is what I could do to wait for the money better, you know. So I am learning stuff, but we have gotten more confident because we can do these jobs, and that's just the way it is, right? Like these big commercial projects that pay a lot of money, they pay 30 to 45 days later. And if we want that money, that's what we're going to have to figure out how to do, you know? So we talked with and we have enough reoccurring regular stuff that we do make enough to wait for those checks, you know? It's just uncomfortable. But yeah, we're learning to do it, and we've talked as a team because we used to say no to HOAs. We just did. If it was an HOA, we said sorry, we're not going to quote this, and we wouldn't do it. Mainly because HOAs have somebody in the president group or whatever that is basically assigned to nitpick and be a bugger, right? I mean, point blank. Their job within the group is to point out every problem every single month, and also try and get lower prices, right? Like they're always constantly getting new quotes, and it's like, you know, we put too much into our jobs to want to work with somebody we know is trying to look for somebody cheaper and who's always complaining, you know what I mean? So we had a meeting about it, and we were like, hey, we're not going to finish this meeting unless we're either going to do HOAs or we're not. We have to make a decision, and we'll revisit it next year if we don't. But we need to figure out if we're going to do it or not. And so we took a vote on it. I'm always the last to vote because I like to see what they're thinking. And if it's put up to a vote, I typically want to leave it as a vote. If I didn't want to do it from the start, I would just say, sorry guys, we're not doing it. Here's why. And I'll get some pushback, and maybe they'll talk me into it, and maybe they can't. But this time I really wanted to see what the vote was, you know, because a lot of times I'm not the one getting the complaint calls. It's one of the other managers, you know. So I kind of think it's up to them. And obviously, if I felt like we can make money doing it, we're not going to lose money doing it, then I'm definitely should be involved in that. And the consensus is, let's do it. And I was like, what about those every time, you know, they're always trying to push to point out what's wrong. And she's like, well, we'll fix it. Like, that's what regular customers do too. Like, you know, we'll always get customers. Sorry, I got a text. All right. So they said yes, let's do it, and I'm agree with that. Now, to be honest with you, I think we're at that stage too of the company where, and this has been happening now for probably 3 seasons, where other people from big companies are kind of window shopping us. You know what I mean? Like, for example, an estimator from a big company that everybody would know around here that was responsible for quoting and overseeing like $150,000 project with examples of where they've done it so I can look at it, have reached out for the past 3 years. Not the same person. There was a guy that did reach out more than once. But I think he was waiting for me to really give him a big offer, and I just wasn't going to do it. You know, like, you know, we're not really ready. But I did have the feedback from a few of these people that basically have told me, "Hey, you're at the stage where you're ready to do these big things." And they don't even know the insides of our company. They just see the outside and they think we're ready. So that's kind of cool and interesting, right? It's like, you got these big time, well, I don't say big time, but these big estimators that do those big giant projects. Um, but to be honest with you, they kind of, I wouldn't say they're asking too much, but it's just a lot to come in the door with. You know what I'm saying? It's like I would rather, have somebody work for me, understand our culture, know our processes. We know their processes, right? Like I know my team. I pretty much know them pretty good. They know me, they know each other, they know the team. I'm going to really try and push commercial here in the fall for snow and hopefully mowing, but the pricing they want is always super low. Yeah, and when I say commercial, I mean like install type projects. You know what I mean, Walter? I think the maintenance is always, regular price. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't go any, like you can't charge, mowing a park strip for a big commercial building. It's not going to be any different than it is mowing a park strip or the same size square footage on somebody's house. Like, you know, but the other type, like repair work, where like they've got like a, I don't know what you call those things, 2.5 pipe size backflow or something like that, and you charge a lot for that because that's big stuff right there. Um, but yeah, and snow plowing, we do a lot of commercial snow plowing. I mean, I would say that we've been doing commercial snow plowing for ever since we started doing snow clearing, because those are the customers. That's who wants plowing, and so I think we've built a pretty okay. I just did a quote. Well, I got a request to quote a big giant parking lot that when I measure it, we need to charge $950 per push. That's how big that parking lot is, and they wanted to pay um, basically 1/3 of that, and I'm like, it's not happening. Now, I need to get more details. I think I'm done. I didn't tell them no, but if they really push us, I'm gonna be like, look, tell me exactly. Do I push the whole parking lot, or is there a section of it? But they pretty much they didn't they didn't give us details, so I'm assuming they want the whole thing done, which would make sense. But the part that I'm really like, no way, is their contract. So I briefly read all the important points of the contract they sent over, and it basically craps all over us. Like, you know, like everything, from if we do this, they're not going to be liable for any damages or any liability. Like, come on. And then like it should be the opposite, right? We're not there 24/7. We push and we leave, and they need to maintain it, right? Like you can't expect us to be there all day. They also have a response time. You can't be any later than 2 hours, from when it's certain snow level, and in an emergency it has to be 30 minutes. It's like, dude, we're just drop everything we're doing to come to you, and you only want to pay us 1/3 of what we would normally charge. And then the final kicker, where I was like, all right, no way, this isn't happening, was if we're late sending the bill, they're not going to pay it. And they go into pretty big detail on that they're not going to pay it if you're late sending the bill. I just don't like that. You know, it's like, dude, you're going out of your way to make my life harder to do a service for you. I don't think so. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's not going to happen. Yeah, I hate snow contract descriptions from other companies, especially these big out-of-state property management companies. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, late invoices crack me up. It's like, I get it. I don't want to send a bill late either, but if I do, it's obviously because it slipped my mind or I'm too busy with something. You know, who knows what the issue could be, or maybe you didn't get it. Maybe we sent it and you didn't get it, and then we're out. Like, you know, thousands of dollars because it slipped our mind to send you the bill by the deadline. I mean, sheesh, I don't think so. Anyway, guys, we just passed the hour mark and I got to get going. I hope everybody's doing good. You know, this is a fun business fun industry to have a business and grow. And it's good that we have this community where we can talk to each other, you know. And Walter, man, good luck. Thank you for, yep, I'm going to have a good trip. And yeah, we'll talk more, Walter. Let's try and do one of these together. Just talking, answering questions. Yeah, you've come a long way too, man. Trust me, I've seen you from, what was it? Freaking 15 years ago to now. I mean, yeah, dude, you're doing great, man. Keep it up for sure. All right, guys, thanks for everything. I'll catch you on the next one.